without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Today we're going to be talking about a mother's role of life and setting our priorities in order. Let me first summarize what are those 5 priorities that book talks about. And so number 1 is supposed to be God, and number 2 is taking care of ourselves. And so that's not like that we're being selfish or pampering ourselves. No, it's just basic needs so that we can then take care of those that need us and our duties. And then number 3 is our spouse. So they come before the children. Number 4 is the children, and number 5 is our duties, work, things that relate to that. And I was just thinking, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and so the urgency of all these things that need to get done, and it can just totally flip upside down those priorities. And then the kids, there's a lot of urgency in their needs. So suddenly we can then be putting our husband's needs after the kids, and then our own needs are way on the back burner. And then we can start thinking, oh, there's always that time that I can spend with God later and later, and then we start procrastinating that, and then it can very quickly turn into that we're not spending any time with God and we're neglecting our time with Him. And that just quickly leads to burnout and those feelings of desolation, and there, it's normal at times to have those times of consolation and desolation, but I mean it in a different way, that we feel far from God, but it's because we're neglecting it. So I hope that makes sense, but I'm just saying it from my own experience. And so thinking about that, I took a good long hour last week writing down, okay, if I'm putting God first, what does that look like? And so for that priority, I realized time in spiritual reading and meditation, that is non-negotiable. I need to commit that as much as I can, I'm going to be doing that. So, because we're all called to know, love, and serve God. And for me, to know Him, reading scripture and reading books written by the saints, that's how I can work on knowing Him and loving Him, spending that time with Him. And then the other things that I'm going to be doing, for my husband, for my children, my duties, that's all incorporated into then serving Him, because there's constant opportunities for self-denial, and also having a prayer regimen. I realized that that's why it's so important to have that in a rule of life. So that's putting God first. And then number 2, taking care of ourselves in terms of, after we're taking care of ourselves spiritually, for example, too, making it to confession, not letting too much time pass in between. And also getting enough sleep. Are we eating healthy enough? Indulging in too much ice cream or unhealthy foods when it can be avoided. That's just something to consider. Going to sleep later than we need to, is that something we can fix? Are there, for me, I've noticed that it does make a difference if I take vitamins. Oftentimes I'll start forgetting to do that, and when I'm really taking care of myself, then I am making that also a priority. Also, another important thing that I realized is recreation time. And there's a big difference between recreation versus entertainment, and especially distraction. And it's kind of easy to mix them up, because entertainment that is more of a distraction can feel fun at the moment, but you'll know that it's not recreation if you don't feel recharged afterwards, if you feel drained, or you get like really irritable, if you're getting like interrupted, and how would I put it? Like, you get irritable about it and you don't feel recharged after. And like, for example, like I used to like to read the news, and I mean, that would just end up giving me more anxiety and fears, and that was not recreation, even though it was entertaining and a distraction. Or like going too much on social media like that, I would feel drained after. Like, I wouldn't feel recharged. And then my kids want to play with me, and like I'm just distracted after. And so for me, how I came to figure out, what is recreation for me, and so these questions might help you. What kind of things did you like to do when you were little? Like when you were a little kid, or even an older child, or even teenager, what did you enjoy doing? So for me, I have fond memories of like in school writing fiction books, drawing and painting. I like being outside in nature, jogging. So also singing, like along to music. So that really helped me realize like these are the kinds of things that help me to recharge. And as we get to know ourselves better, you'll be able to kind of see like, okay, yeah, this is a priority, and it might not feel as motivated to say then go for that hike, even though we know it's going to recharge us, because it's easier in a way, like instant gratification, to just like go on our phone and be scrolling and things like that. But it's worth it, and it's important. So that's part of like taking care of ourselves. And then briefly discussing like about our husbands and being a good wife. So always working at our marriage, making sure that he knows he's a priority, and putting his needs even before the kids. And I know that that's hard because the kids are like crying, and there's like that urgency, but we need to make the effort to be putting his needs first. And a lot of his needs are going to be similar to the ones I mentioned for taking care of ourselves. Like, are they getting time set aside for the spiritual reading and meditation? And do they have a prayer regimen? Are they having enough time for recreation? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they eating unhealthy because they're having to buy lunch? Or is there a way that we could maybe help with that and pack them a healthier lunch option? I mean, like, these are just ideas. Like, you'll just have to brainstorm and spend that time. And so that's kind of like the ideas I came up with for me. And like, I'm just reading more books about being a better wife, and just putting in more effort, and being more intentional about it. And the same with the kids. Like, all those priorities we discussed before, are we instructing them in the faith? Are they being taught that it's important to do spiritual reading, have that prayer time, having that prayer regimen? Usually then that should be like to help them learn that and ingrain it. Some of this prayer regimen for ourselves can be part of the family, like our family rosary, family night prayers, saying morning offering with the little ones, Angelus together, the 3 o'clock prayer. So those are some ways we do that. And then making sure that they have and they learn like the importance of recreation. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they eating healthy? And again, that's just a rough overview. And then last but not least, it's taking care of the house. We're the heart of the home. Are we managing it and keeping it in a way as best we can? And usually that's kind of the one that I'm still kind of like reflecting on, like, keeping the house tidy, and maybe like getting more organized for the meal planning, and just like maybe a system for cleaning. Like, I've been considering doing Fly Lady, but I don't know, we'll see. I've heard about that for some time, and I just haven't jumped in. But now that we're like settling in, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can try this. And just having some routines for chores and including the kids with that. And so that's like my overview of our priorities, and not letting them get inverted and flipped, and putting our errands first and the house first and the kids first, because ultimately then things are going to suffer. And we need to have our priorities in order. I would love to hear your thoughts, because I read that book so long ago. So this was kind of like just me brainstorming and thinking and trying to be intentional for my life. Like, how can I make sure my priorities are in order, and then just incorporating that into my day so that I have daily habits that kind of like, these things don't get neglected for too long. Because sometimes things happen and it's there's more errands and duties, like a move that is just things, it's just going to take up more time, and so we have to adapt. But how do we, like, then when we get back to a normal routine, how to keep them in place? And so I'd love to hear your thoughts, or if you've read the book recently, any other insights. And thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. Thank you.